Hi everyone, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin 1 hour charts to assess the current price action after we have finally broken above local resistance for the first time since November in the last 24 hours. Now, so what's been happening over the last 24 hours? Well, firstly, of course, we had some inflation data out of the United States, and it's pretty much static compared to where it was the month before, except we had a slight dip. So inflation was a little bit better. CPI data was a little bit better than it was expected, just subtly, which is a good, subtle, bullish push for the market, as having inflation coming down is pretty good for risk assets, as it makes the chances of having another cut sooner rather than later more likely than not, which of course is good. And potentially Bitcoin on the back of this data has managed to capitalize on that bullish fervor and break above this local resistance of 94.5k. Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, the first thing is we do have some resistance overhead. The last sort of line in the sand before major resistance at 101k, which is essentially sitting at 96.5 or so k, and it's just this little micro range which the price action stopped at on its way down in November, and now resistance, and that's obviously stopped the price action in its tracks. Now, because of this, the breakout is a little bit more like popping the price action's head above the parapet. It's not really the strong break we want to see like this to dissuade fears that we're going to have a retrace back below local resistance. Well, what hopefully will be local support now, but because the move isn't that big and we haven't managed to surpass this resistance area overhead, we have to presume we're going to actually lose 94.5k again until we can get back above it with a little bit more confidence. So looking for a sort of retrace area. This is the range which the price action has been in essentially since January, 7th of January, for about a week or so, and the top of that is around 92.5k, and the floor of that is ultimately between about 90 and 89k, as this is our ideal retracement zone. So expecting a retrace back down to around 92.5k is probably what you should be presuming at this point. Where are the most buyers? Where are the most sellers? Well, probably, we're going to have some buyers here, certainly much more than we're going to have here. Now, of course, if we see Bitcoin have another leg up and we do break above this current resistance area of around 96.5, then of course we can reevaluate, and coming back in on the flip side of local resistance turning into local support is a little bit more palatable. But because we've only just popped ahead above the parapet, we do need to presume we're going to lose local resistance again and come back down here, which is why I haven't flipped it yet to say 94.5k local support, because we just haven't had a tremendously strong move above. Now, this is a good move, of course. You can see the volumes coming in, but we need to have surpassed this resistance area first to give me confidence to look to come in on the flip side of this. So a retrace back down to around 92.5k would seem like the logical thing for Bitcoin to do right now, but doing really well, thankfully. But if we can get above 96.5k, then 101k is the next major resistance level to be taking profits, and I've entered a position in this area